Hey guys, welcome back to the hptuners live stream training. I am Alex Peitz of Peitz Performance Tunes, and I'm going to be your instructor for the day. And today we're going to be covering unboxing your MPVI2, setting it up, and registering your account online. There's going to be a lot of good info, especially for you guys who maybe just got your MPVI2 or maybe considering getting an MPVI2. So we really hope that this information is going to help you guys out. Please also remember to pay close attention because there will be a question asked towards the end of the class, and the first person to answer this question correctly is going to win an MPVI2 from hptuners. So that's pretty exciting in and of itself, and I'm really excited to share some info with you guys. I know you guys might have some questions. Feel free to write them down and address them with us if you can. I will try to hang out for a few minutes after the stream is over with to answer as many questions as I can at that point. Otherwise, always feel free to send me an email, sales@peitzperformancetunes.com or alex@peitzperformancetunes.com. Prefer sales though. Also, you can send an email to support@hptuners.com. Also, I believe there's sales@hptuners.com as well. So a lot of different ways to contact us, and we're more than happy to help you guys out in anything that you need. Just want to be sure to explain to you that this is focusing solely on setting up your MPVI2 and getting that rolling. Okay, there's a lot of different ways to you can maybe go wrong with this. So please, again, be sure to pay attention and follow along. So without further ado, let's get rolling on it. All right. First and foremost, probably the most exciting part of the whole process is unboxing your MPVI2. Who doesn't like opening up new toys, right? We all love it. It's like Christmas every day around here, especially. So I actually have an MPVI2 Pro right here for you guys. And you can actually tell if it's a Pro or if it's a standard by looking right there on the box. So this is obviously a Pro because it does say Pro. If you have a standard, it will not have that logo there. All right, and we're going to talk more about that here in a few minutes. Let's get going. All right, so you're going to see the seal here. Once you break the seal, it's not returnable. So just remember to keep that in mind. I've already broken the seal, but I already put everything back. But nonetheless, let's get rocking and rolling. All right, so we're going to pull this guy out of here. Bear with me 1 second. All right, and you're going to see the MPVI2 right here. All right, set this down. Here's the shining jewel of the whole package. The MPVI2 is awesome. It's super compact, really lightweight. I really love it. Since I've been using it, I couldn't imagine using another piece of hardware. The MPVI1 is great as well, but 2 is just has so many additional features. Also, I would like to point out that if you have the MPVI2, there's also some other vehicles which you can tune, or you can only tune with the MPVI2, which you cannot tune with the MPVI1. So be sure to remember that, especially if you guys who may have an MPVI1 right now, you may want to think about upgrading. If you do want to upgrade, there is an upgrade path, and you can order the upgrade online if you already have registered online. If you haven't, I'm going to show you how to register today, and you can go ahead and take care of that, and then get the upgrade. I definitely recommend it. All right, so here's the MPVI2. We're going to be talking a lot more about it. I'm going to set it to the side for now and show you some other components that are included. All right, so another awesome feature of the Pro is the fact that you get a ProLink cable. All right, so this end right here actually plugs, oops, sorry about that. This end right here actually plugs into the OBD, excuse me, not the OBD, into the side of the MPVI2, right, like that. All right. Now, you have two 0 to 5 volt inputs and a CAN input as well. So that really allows you to do a lot with the Pro that you cannot do with the standard. Now, the 0 to 5 volts are awesome because you can obviously use the 0 to 5 volt for your typical wideband, but also if you have a fuel pressure sensor, manifold absolute pressure sensor, a lot of different sensors use a 0 to 5 volt scale. So it's extremely helpful in trying to diagnose your car or trying to tune it properly and collecting as much data as possible. The more data, the better. But what's really awesome about this is the CAN input, because if you guys have devices that output CAN signal, you can actually grab that right here through the Pro link and collect that data and view it on the VCM scanner. So that's extremely helpful, especially if, say, you do have a wideband that does output in CAN. You're going to get a lot cleaner signal with CAN. It's going to be a faster reading signal. It's going to be more reliable. I mean, there's a lot of benefits to using the CAN input. So I definitely recommend you guys looking into that. If you already have an MPVI2 and you haven't used it, I would look into it and I would use it, right? So you guys have more questions on that kind of stuff, again, feel free to let me know, let us all know, and we'll try to help you out as much as we can. All right. In addition to that, of course, it does plug in inside, and then you do also have the USB-C plug-in in the front there. So that's the Pro Link. Again, 2 0 to 5 volt inputs and another CAN input as well. All right. Now you also do get a thumb drive. This is pretty helpful actually, especially if you don't have internet where you're at right now. You may need access to the drivers. This actually has a driver for the MPVI2 on it. Also has a version, the latest version of the stable software, also included on the thumb drive as well. So that's extremely helpful if you don't have access to be able to download the software offline, which I'm going to show you guys how to do that as well. But nonetheless, this is also helpful actually, sorry, because you can also store information on this. This is a thumb drive, so you can use it just like a regular thumb drive. So you can store tune files if you want to share things. I use these all the time when I'm teaching classes in person to share information, and it's got a nice HP Tuners logo on that, so can't go wrong there. All right. Also, you get a lanyard here, which you can use to secure your MPVI2 as well. Pretty nice piece. It's really helpful to have that. If nothing else, you can put it on your keychain and have some HP Tuner swag. The more swag, the better. I'm all about it, right? Okay. You also get a USB cable, of course, USB-C on one end, and then your typical USB connection that goes into the laptop. So obviously, we're going to need this. Also, you guys may be wondering about the Bluetooth functionality of the MPVI2. It definitely works great when using Track Addict. I use it all the time. I go road racing in my C8, and I connect in, and we can collect a lot of basic data, a lot of basic parameters, SAE parameters, and we can actually collect that information and view it via the Track Addict app, which is pretty awesome. So it being all Bluetooth is extremely helpful because nobody wants to deal with wires hanging around and just kind of getting in the way. It's just kind of cumbersome, right? So anytime you can do Bluetooth, it's awesome. And there's a lot more stuff coming, I can assure you of that. But that's the biggest benefit of it right now, is being able to use it with Track Addict. So again, I use it all the time. If you guys have not looked at Track Addict, I would definitely download that and play around with it. I believe there's a free version, and there is also a paid version that you can do as well. But nonetheless, that's with like Race Render, things like that. So you have Track Addict, which you collect the data, and Race Render, which you can grab all that data, and then you can actually look at it as well through that application, which is Race Render. And then that's where you get the overlays and all the data. It's pretty cool. So nonetheless, the Bluetooth is extremely helpful because you don't have to lug around a bunch of different devices. Like I used to have an OBD device that basically outputted that data. Then I had my HP Tuners device, and now I can do it all with one device, and that's the MPVI2. So I don't want to ramble on about this, but it's pretty awesome. Okay. So definitely helpful, definitely worthwhile. All right. And again, I do want to reiterate that if you have an MPVI1 now, if there are newer vehicles which you cannot tune with the MPVI1 because the hardware is upgraded, it's a different protocol, different communication. So you do need the MPVI2 in order to tune some of those vehicles. So again, keep that in mind. All right. So the included components and their functionality, I think we've discussed quite a bit of their functionality. If you guys have additional information, or excuse me, additional questions about that, please feel free to ask me or ask anybody at HP Tuners as well, support, what have you. All right. So the MPVI2 Standard versus the MPVI2 Pro, differences, pros and cons of going with one or the other. I'll put it to you this way. If you can't go wrong with even just getting MPVI standard, because you can always upgrade the MPVI2 standard to an MPVI2 Pro. You can do that right online. I can show you guys how to do that once we register here online. But yeah, so you can always upgrade. However, if you are using tuning multiple cars, I would definitely recommend getting the Pro, going ahead, spending a little bit of extra money to get it, because at that point, then you can take advantage of the 0 to 5 volt inputs, right? And also the CAN inputs, because, you know, if you have your own vehicle, let's say you've got a Hellcat, right? The Hellcat has widebands on board that are outputting data on the CAN, right? So pretty easy. You can just plug in your MPVI2 standard. You can collect that data via the CAN, right? From the car. Now, let's say you go to tune, you know, that O2 Camaro we talked about last week, right? Well, the O2 Camaro doesn't have that, right? So you would need to use your 0 to 5 volt input, or another device that outputs and CAN and collect that data, right? So you would need that Pro to be able to jump from tuning one car to another and being able to collect that data and look at it in the scanner. Now, if you're not using the scanner to look at your wideband, let's say you have a dyno and you've got a wideband on your dyno, you can do that too. You don't have to have it in the scanner, but for any of you guys who have tuned quite a bit or have, you know, dabbled in it a little bit, you know how much easier it makes things if you can look at your data directly in the scanner. And also, there's a lot of functionality in the scanner you can take advantage of, such as air fuel ratio error or EQ ratio error, that we can look at. And so you can actually look at the actual versus your commanded, and you can find that correction factor, and the ECU, excuse me, not the ECU, the scanner will find that the information for you, and you can look at the trims directly on the scanner and apply a correction factor to the table because you had the wideband coming directly into the scanner. If you don't have that, it takes away that functionality. So that's why the Pro is extremely helpful just in that sense alone. Obviously, there are other features of it as well. If you're not using it for the wideband, if you're using it for pressure input, if you're using it for, you know, many of things, there's many ways that it's going to help you in the long run. So again, though, the standard has a lot of functionality built into it. And let's say you're just wanting to daily log cars and you just have one car, or you have your Hellcat, you're not going to be tuning any other cars, might be okay for you. So there's some options there, right? But again, we left it to where you can add on to it. It's somewhat modular, which modular is always better in today's age, right? Because what works today or what works for us today may not be as solid or may not work for us tomorrow or next month or next year. So we always want to be able to build with it, right? And that's what's really helpful about that. Okay. Yeah, if you guys have any other questions about that, just feel free to let me know. Also, okay, so now let's get into downloading the VCM suite. So I'm already sharing my screen with you, so you guys should be able to see what I'm at right now. All right, so I'm on hptuners.com, and I'm going / my account. So before we get to the account, let's just go back to the home screen. Okay. All right. So now we're back on the hptuners home screen, and we're going to go down all the way to the bottom, and you are going to see the downloads, right? So you're going to click on downloads. Okay, you're going to see a lot of different options for a lot of different things you can download on this screen. The main thing that we're looking at right now is the download selection for the VCM suite. And for today's class, we're going to be focusing on the latest stable version. Now, there also is an option to download beta. For you guys out there that may be wondering, when would I need to use beta? Well, it depends. If you're working on a very new vehicle that may have some new features that HP Tuners is adding or testing the waters, so to speak, you may need to use beta, right? So it really depends on your situation. But personally, I use beta like almost all the time just because I'm constantly tuning very new vehicles and I'm constantly trying to add features, or not personally, but trying to help the guys at HP Tuners add features by testing different things, saying, hey guys, let's try this, let's try this. Okay, cool. Let's put it in software. Did it work? Awesome. Just to make the product that much more better, you know, that much better for you guys, right? At the end. So that stuff kind of gets hashed out in the beta, and then it's going to go to your stable version. So it's even better of a product. So for most of you guys at home, I recommend downloading the stable version. If you hit a situation where you need the beta, then that's different, right? But until then, I would use the stable version if I were you until you actually have a need that warrants downloading the beta. Otherwise, you can, of course, download the beta. But again, I don't want to ramble on. Just want to give you guys your options, compare and contrast for you guys. All right. So to download the VCM Suite, you're just going to click on that guy and you're going to see this might pop up. This type of file can harm your computer. Do you want to download it anyways? It's just because it's an executable file. Okay. So it's completely safe. You go ahead and click keep, and then it's going to do its thing. It's going to download. About 1 minute left right now. So bear with me on that. Also, in the download section, you have some options to download drivers. There's drivers for the MPVI2, and there's drivers for the MPVI1. Depending on what hardware you have, may depend on what driver you'd want to download. Now, you shouldn't necessarily have to download the drivers. However, if you have an issue where the driver is not installing automatically, that would warrant the need to download the drivers, and then you would need to manually install them, which I can show you guys how to do that because that does happen from time to time. But I would recommend first downloading the software, installing it, and then while you're connected to the internet, plug in your MPVI2 to your laptop, and then it should search automatically for the driver and install it, and you don't have to worry about anything else from there. However, if that process doesn't work, then you can manually install the drivers. So you're going to go to hptuners.com, go to downloads, again, where we're at right now, and then you're going to click on download MPVI2 drivers, and it's going to download. And then you would go to your section for your devices, find your device, assign that driver. And again, I can show you guys how to do that. I'm just kind of killing some time while this is downloading. Now it's finally downloaded. All right. So we're going to click on VCM Suite 2. All right. So just click on that guy. All right. Welcome to Setup Wizard for VCM Suite 4.6.3. So this is just going to take you through step by step. It's a typical installation wizard. You guys have ever installed anything on a laptop or a computer, it's going to be the same thing, right? So click on next. And I already have this downloaded, or excuse me, installed on my computer. So now it's asking me if I want to repair. I shouldn't need to repair. I don't need to repair, but I'm going to go ahead and click it anyways, just for fun. We're going to repair it. All right. And that's essentially what's going to happen for you guys. It's going to go through. You're going to see the bar graph, and it's going to finish. All right. So we have completed the VCM Suite Setup Wizard. Awesome. So now VCM Suite is installed on our laptop, and now we can get going forward. And just doing this alone has given you access to be able to play around with the software, to open up the scanner, to open up the editor. Heck, for you guys who don't even have an MPVI2 right now or don't have a piece of hardware, you can download the software for free right now and then play around with it. And I'll show you guys, there's some sample files you can open up and look at what this software looks like and see how many tables are available for different vehicles that we have samples for. And it'll give you an idea of what you're going to be able to do with this thing. And it's pretty awesome. All right. So let's go to VCM editor. So that's another thing I want to point out to you guys. All right. So it's not going to automatically put an icon into your start screen or your start menu or your taskbar. Okay. So initially, when you want to go find the software to be able to open it up initially, you're going to have to type in VCM right here. And then you'll see my best match is VCM Editor Beta because I use beta all the time. However, you have under apps, you have VCM Editor, and that's just the standard because there's no beta after it. All right. So if you want to pin that to the taskbar, you can right click, you can pin it to taskbar, right? Which is going to put it right down there at the bottom for you, or you can pin to start. So whenever you click on the start icon, it's going to pop up and give you the option to do it there. So always, remember, once you've pinned it to the taskbar, if you download a new version of the software, you will need to remove that typically and then repin the new version of the software. Just a side note for you guys. All right, so that'll make it easier for you to be able to access the editor sooner afterward. Okay, I'm not going to do it right now, but we are going to click on VCM editor. And also you can do the same thing for the scanner. There's a VCM scanner right there as well. So let's click on that. I don't know if it actually, yep, we're going. Sometimes you have to give it a second. So depending on your computer, it may take a little bit longer to open up, right? Now, once you open the editor, it's typically going to try to open whatever file. If you had a file open previously, it's going to open up that file automatically that you had open last. So you can disable that feature as well if you want. It doesn't really matter to me either way. But let's say you were working on a file in beta and now you open up stable version of the software. Well, if that file was made in beta, it will not open up in the stable version of the software. You guys may have hit this at home or ran into this because you may be working with a tuner remotely and they may be using beta. This happens to me all the time. So I have to tell my customers, okay, go ahead, download the beta, not a big deal, right? But if you have a tuner you're working with and they've created a file in beta and they send it to you and you have the stable version of the software, it probably won't open up. So you will need to download beta in that scenario. And if you're working specifically with a tuner and they're using the beta software for a specific reason, not a big deal. I'm sure they know what they're doing. So more power to you on that. Okay. So in that situation, download beta, you'll be good to go. Because basically it will say it's was created with a newer version of software or something to that nature. So it's not a big deal and you're good. All right. So before I go forward, I want to show you guys some of these sample files that are available for you to use, especially if you guys have never opened up the software before. All right. So I'm going to close this first. Okay. When you first open up software, it's going to look like this most likely. So it's going to be a blank screen, HP tuners, but you're not going to see engine, engine diagnostics, transmission diagnostics, system, fans, so on and so forth. None of that's going to be up there because you don't have a file open. So to use the software, to browse it, we're just going to go to File. We're going to Open. You're going to go to Documents. You're going to go to HP tuners. Then you're going to go to Logs and Tunes. Then you're going to go to Samples. And so you can see samples right here. So I'm just going to go back to, actually, let's open up a 2014 Corvette. I love me some C7s. So now that you've opened it up, you can see all the tables are available, and there is a lot of them. Okay. Now, one thing you may be wondering if you open up a file or you haven't set up the software yet, it's going to ask you, do you want to view it in metric or imperial? So if depending on where you're at or what you prefer, you can select metric or imperial. And if you want to change that later, you can go to tools, go to options, and you can change it to metric, imperial, or native, right? So also where I was talking about loading the last tune on startup, you can select no, and it's not going to open up whatever tune file you're working on last. So there's some options for you there. So you can also, you also may be wondering, like, you're seeing a bunch of tables that I have here, and maybe you don't see all those tables. Well, it could be because you are in basic view. So to change that, you're going to go to edit, you're going to view, and you can select basic or advanced. I always use advanced because I want to have access to all the tables that are available, and so that's what I select. So just another side note for you guys, in case you're going to be wandering around the software and you want to see all the capabilities it has, make sure you're in advanced view so you can see that information. Okay. So that pretty much covers downloading the VCM suite, installing it, opening it up, giving you guys the ability to open up a file for the first time and look around. It's pretty awesome, man. It's great. So then we can go to the scanner. We can do the same with that actually. While we're talking about it, bear with me here. Okay, so VCM scanner. I'm so used to open up beta. We're gonna open up standard. Okay, bear with me. All right. All right, here's the scanner. Now, we don't have a file open. Now, this is opening up one of my layouts that I use for Hellcats. So you can go to a standard layout or a default layout. So go to Layout, Default Layouts, Diagnostics, O2 millivolt, and map, right? All right, so we're going to log file, open log file. And so the same place we went, instead of when we went to logs and tunes, samples, now it's going to have a 2009 Chevy Silverado. So you can just open up this log and look at it and just view the data that's there so you can have an idea of what it looks like. So you can play around, see how that looks. You can try different layouts. A lot of different options there. Also, you guys, I do have some layouts as well. And if you contact me, I can potentially send you one to help you out. No big deal. So just let me know. And there's layouts for so many different vehicles that you know the cool thing about it is it's completely customizable. So what looks good to one person may not be aesthetically pleasing to the other, or they may want to see a certain data point and they want to hone in on that. So you can zoom in, change your scaling, and really try to finely tune a vehicle or find an issue that you're seeing with a vehicle or you're feeling. So it's really awesome. Just once you get more into it, you're going to see what I mean if you haven't already. All right, so it's pretty cool, guys. So let's keep rolling here. All right, so we downloaded the VCM suite. We've installed that. Everything's rocking and rolling. All right, so we're ready to move on. All right, so we're going to talk about ensuring proper communications with your MPVI2. This is where we're going to see if the driver installed correctly, and if it did not, we can go back, install that driver manually. All right, so we're going to take my brand new MPVI2 right here, this guy, and we're going to plug it into the computer. Okay. So you have your one plug, USB-C. All right, then you got your other USB plug here. And we're going to see what it does. All right, so we're going to help MPVI2 verification code, and there you go. So now there's your serial number, and there's the verification code. So that's how you know that the MPVI2 is communicating properly with the software. So now you're going to use this data when you go to register online to import your device onto your portal. All right, so we're going to put that in the background here. We're going to have to come back to that in a second. Okay, so let's go back to the home screen, hptuners.com. Now you're going to click on My Account. All right, so first you're going to register. So we're going to use that. Bear with me. Demo at hptuners.com. All right, so demo at hptuners.com. I'm going to make a new password. You're going to have to select I'm not a robot. I don't think I'm a robot. I hope you guys aren't either. All right. So also your password needs to be pretty strong. So your typical password you'd have to use for your email or anything like that, it's probably going to work. So just FYI. So click register. All right. So it's going to ask me to save the password. I'm not going to right now. And now we're going to try to log in. So again, it's going to be demo at hptuners.com. Okay. All right. So now you have successfully created your account. It's that easy, guys. All you have to do is put in the email, put in a password that's strong, that works, and boom, you're in. All right. So now you can view dashboard, different orders that you're going to place, devices, tune repository, newsletters, all kinds of different info in here. It's pretty great. All right. So first and foremost, I'm going to show you guys how to import the device onto your account. So you're going to click on My Devices. Okay, there's a section for MPVI1 for you guys that have the standard MPVI1 or Pro MPVI1, and there's a section for MPVI2. So it's going to ask you the serial number, verification ID, and notes. So let's say you have multiple MPVI2s, you're going to want to make notes to try to keep them sorted. Like for me, I have a lot of customers that purchase credits. So I put notes, okay, this is, Joe Blow's machine shop. This is this speed shop. This is so on and so forth. So all these different shops that purchase credits from me, I can kind of keep them straight just with the notes. So it's pretty helpful. All right, so we got to put our serial number in here. Okay. Let's go back, go to help. All right. So you can copy paste directly out of the editor. All right, go back. We're going to paste that guy in there. All right, verification ID. So again, we're going to highlight, copy, go back, paste. All right, notes, demo, device, import. Okay, so now you'll see where you'll have your device here and credits none, and you can add credit. You can purchase user-defined parameters, which is a thing we'll talk about later. But if you want to add credit, this is where you do it. Also, if you are working with an authorized hptuners reseller, you can also purchase your credits through that reseller. So that's also a good option if you have a pre-existing relationship with another reseller. So however you want to do it, whatever's easiest. All right, so you're going to click add credit. And then it's going to show you your serial number, and then you can select how many credits you want. All right. So that leads me more so to my next point. All right. The credit system and how it works. Okay. So if you guys are not familiar with HP tuners and the credit system, it works basically if you want to tune a car, it requires X amount of credits. Okay. So some cars require 2, some cars require 6, some cars like a ZR1 will require 10. So it really depends on what you're doing, the complexity of the car, and how many credits it's going to require. So it really depends. So if you want to know how many credits it costs or takes to tune whatever specific vehicle, you can actually go to the Vehicles tab, and this will tell you. So let's say you're wanting to tune an Audi. So any Audi A4, which is a 2-liter from 07 to 18, is going to cost or take 6 credits to tune. So that's how you know, okay, I need to add 6 credits to my device in order to be able to tune that vehicle. So if we go back, all right, so that's our serial number. Let's say we're going to add 6 credits. Add the cart. All right, so 6 credits have been added to your cart. And then you're going to view. And then this is where you can go and check out, proceed to checkout. And then it's pretty self-explanatory from there. So also you may be wondering, if I purchase credits for this vehicle this time to tune it, do I need to purchase credits every time to tune the car? And the answer is no. As long as you keep the same device with the same car or the same PC and part number, depending on what vehicle you're tuning, it's not going to ask you to relicense it again. Now, that's as long as you're using the same device. If you have tuned this car with a different device in the past, let's say you buy your own device, you're going to have to purchase credits and then never again, as long as you don't change the the parameters there, right? So same vehicle, same device, same operating system and a PCM. Now, if you have the PCM reflash by the dealer and they put a different operating system in it, sometimes depending on the situation, you may have to relicense the vehicle. Hopefully that doesn't happen, you guys, but it's beyond anybody's control at that point. So just be mindful of that, just mostly more than anything else. Also, one other thing you want to be mindful of is some cars have multiple controllers on the same car. So if it has multiple controllers, it's going to ask you to purchase credits for those controllers. Now, some don't require additional credits, such as the older GM, 6-speed autos, stuff like that. They will not ask you to purchase additional credits in order to be able to tune that controller. However, let's say you're talking about a ZF8 HP TCM, transmission. So in that particular case, that does require 4 credits if you're talking about tuning like a Dodge Challenger, for example. So you're going to need to purchase additional credits in order to tune that controller. Again, it's just situationally dependent at this point. So it also depends on how complex it was to reverse engineer it and so on and so forth. So nonetheless, just If you have any questions about that, you can always go back to vehicles and then find what you're looking for, find what you're trying to tune. And this is updated like almost daily. So you shouldn't have any issues with finding what you want to tune and figuring out how many credits it takes. So that's the long and short of the credit system, um, from there. All right. So talked about that, registering online, supported vehicles list. So really, the only other thing I really wanted to focus on with you guys today was talking about the tune repository. So once you have an account online, my name is Demo now. Welcome, Demo. You're going to go to tune repository. That's going from your home screen, your account home screen. You're going to see tune repository. So the repository is really helpful. For me, I use it sometimes to just try to grab a stock file that's already in hptuners format instead of having to use a J2534 device, which is basically a fancy name for a device which allows you to flash a stock tune back into a car, right? That may have been tuned by somebody else, or it's locked or something of that nature. You want to flash it back to stock, get that guy. Otherwise, if you don't have a stock file, the repository is extremely helpful because for the most part, people are very honest about what they're submitting into the repository. There's a lot of good names out there that are submitting these. And if you want to look, you can look up the name because it shows who submitted them. And you can do a little quick search on them, make sure they're legit, or even contact them if you like, and just to ask them about it. But you just want to be mindful that what you are downloading isn't from HP Tuners. It is submitted by other people. So it's possible that there are maybe some errors in that particular file, right? So again, the idea of the repository is to help you get stock tune files from other vehicles. Now, some people will submit files that are modified. That you're going to have to use at your own discretion. Typically, I recommend going through, learn how to tune the car correctly for yourself because you're going to learn and understand the process way better than using somebody else's tune, for example. I just wouldn't recommend it, especially if you're learning. So just keep that in mind. But nonetheless, the repository is extremely helpful. Just to show you real quick. Let's see if we can find a 2002 Chevy Camaro. All right. Now you can search by a specific engine if you're looking for a particular model, like let's say one, if you're talking about Dodges, you have a 6.4 or a 5.7, for example. So you may want to search a specific engine size so that way you can get more precise results, right? So in this case, we're just going to click all. We're going to see what pops up. All right. So you can see here, 2002 Chevrolet Camaro, 5.7 liter manual stock, and this is a stock tune file. So they'll tell you if it's supposed to be a stock tune file. Again, you might want to check that just to be sure. Some different things you can check, like for example, a lot of people will shut off catalytic overtemp or things like that. You could actually go into the tune file and see, for example, if that's on, then more than likely it's a stock tune. But again, you can't trust that. You have to really vet it and know for sure and understand. Again, this is not provided by HP Tuners. This is provided by somebody else who submitted it via the tune repository. Okay. Really, that's all I really wanted to focus with you guys on. And other than that, it is time for our question or our little pop quiz, if you will. So the question is as follows. How many 0 to 5 volt inputs does the ProLink cable give you access to? Again, the question is how many 0 to 5 volt inputs does the ProLink cable give you access to? Cue the Jeopardy music. All right, Bruce Slayton, congratulations. You have won an MPVI2 from HP Tuners. Please be sure to email marketing@hptuners.com and provide your YouTube screen name. Again, email marketing@hptuners.com and be sure to provide your screen name, and then they will get you set up with your MPVI2. That's super awesome, man. I'm really happy for you. I hope you really enjoy it. And, it's going to be great. I know you'll love it. And again, feel free to contact us if you have any issues, and we'll be happy to help you out. And for all the rest of you guys, thank you so much for bearing with me. I apologize about the little technical snafu we had there a few minutes ago, but we worked through it. That's how it goes. You know, nothing's perfect in life, and it's realism at its finest. And I really think that makes for even better learning environment for you guys. So awesome job. I really appreciate you guys hanging in there. And again, feel free to follow us on Instagram, follow hptuners on YouTube. Pretty much, again, thank you for tuning into the hptuners live stream tuning. Again, my name is Alex Peitz of Peitz Performance. If you want to keep up with my latest builds, check out my YouTube channel, which is Alex Peitz. And also be sure to follow hptuners on Instagram and Facebook and find out the next date of when we will be having our next private training, excuse me, our live training seminar. So again, thank you so much, guys. As always, stay tuned.